Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast. This Week in America. On the Margin of the Sky, a shocking true crime story of horror in Sarajevo by Dee Plecic, our guest on the program, is her true story as a survivor of the horror in Sarajevo. This is the story about the biggest genocide in Europe after the Hitler time, the time of apocalypse called ethnic cleansing during the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Dee says her book is a wake-up call for all of us in the world to help us to understand how political and religious propaganda are producing the heat and genocide right in front of our eyes. Dee was born in Sarajevo, where she graduated with an economic degree in foreign trade at the University of Sarajevo. She survived the wartime there, the time of ethnic cleansing, running every day between bombs and snipers to be at her workplace to find some food and water for her family. She escaped Sarajevo to Croatia, from there to America as a refugee with 2 children. She graduated in computer science from DePaul University, where her teacher discovered her talent for writing. Now she's retired and living in Florida. Dee Plecic, author of On the Margin of the Sky, is our guest on This Week in America. Dee, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Oh, hello, Rick. Thank you very much to have me in your show.
It is our pleasure. This is such an important story that needs to be told. And for many people, ethnic cleansing became part of the vocabulary several decades ago, but they may not fully understand the story behind that. And you bring that out so well in your book, On the Margin of the Sky. First of all, the inspiration for the book. These had to be painful stories to tell and you to write this book. What inspired you to write this book?
As a student on DePaul University, I have been writing many essays, and my dear teacher, Michelle Moore, she told me, I'm always crying when I'm reading your essays. And I respond, I'm crying when I'm writing that. And she called me to her office, and she told me, you have to write the book. You have to say this story to this society. We don't know too much about that. So when I was talking to my un-American friends, I really discovered they don't know too much about genocide in Europe. And this discovery inspired me to write the book, to teach them, to open their eyes about danger that can happen in any country today. Mass media propaganda, political propaganda, and religious propaganda can produce confusing situations and divide people, and hate between them can produce civil war and genocide, as it happened in former Yugoslavia.
That's why this book is so important. I mentioned that a lot of people are vaguely familiar with what happened, and you take us there, this very important part of history. And as they say, history has a tendency to repeat itself. So it's very important that we understand what is happening. Now, the title of the book, On the Margin of the Sky, how did you come up with that title?
On the Margin of the Sky, it's... in my mind, I'm always on the margin of the sky. I am a dreamer. And the title of The Margin of the Sky is the product of imagination between Florida, red and orange sunset, and red and orange sky over the Sarajevo under heavy siege on the city. So on the margin of the sky, I'm sending the global message to all of us to not be brainwashed in society, to not hate each other, to produce love, peace, and happiness.
The book is, On the Margin of the Sky. Interesting where that title comes from. A shocking true crime story of horror in Sarajevo by Dee Plecic, our guest on the program. If you're Googling, Plecic is Plecic. The book's available at Amazon. Information available at all the usual places. You can click on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. What would you consider to be the main topic of the book, the most important for us to take away as readers?
Sure. The main topic is discovery how political games, religion games, mass media propaganda can produce a confusing situation, can melt the brain of innocent people and produce hate and civil war or genocide. So, for example, on the president of Serbia, Slobodan Milosevic, he had control 10 years over 10 years before the war started. He had control all other TV station and radio station, producing propaganda against other nationality, producing confused situation over the Serbia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. So the people have been divided. They had started to hate each other, and they produce civil war and genocide. So this is the main topic. We have to be careful with political games, what they are talking on the mass media, and is that really true, or we can decide to accept that or not.
And the book has been described as a wake-up call, and when you think about it, it really is. So often, if we let a few things slide, then more things slide, and all of a sudden, they're pretty much out of control. Dee Plecic, our guest on the program, that's Placic. The book is On the Margin of the Sky. I mentioned this had to be difficult for you. Talk about some of the challenges and the most difficult part of writing this book, because this is your firsthand account. You live this. How difficult was it going back?
Yeah, the most difficult part I had fighting with my emotions. When you writing something very sad from your life, and this is like taking your heart and your emotions on the piece of paper. It's very painful. So I had a problem with my emotions. I tried to write the book, and when my emotion was killing me and producing the tears, I pushed my book back, and I was coming back again many times. And Florida helped me, relaxing by the ocean. I overcome my crisis, and I finished my book. Thank you, God.
And the book, again, so important, and you will find it at all of the usual places, and you can link on by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Basically, just sort of summing up, what is the story about? What do you hope that people focus on as they're reading On the Margin of the Sky?
The story is about awakening volcano of nationalism that destroyed former Yugoslavia, that reshaped the borders, that pushed people to be refugee. About 2 million people have been resettled from Bosnia and other republics to all over the world, different continents. So this is the story how political game can, in mass media game, can destroy powerful and united country. So this is also the story about invasion of radical Muslim invasion from Saudi Arabia and the other Arabian country. So in Arabian country, the mass media and religion propaganda have been using propaganda to melt the people of Arabian people, to mujahideens, to produce like request, you have to go to Bosnia to holy war to protect your brothers Muslim in Bosnia. Many of them come from Syria, from Egypt, from Saudi Arabia. They have been fighting together with Bosnian army, and many of them died in Bosnia. About 300 mujahideens have been killed in Bosnia for the wartime in Bosnia. So this is the story about.
That's all in the book, On the Margin of the Sky. And what resources, and I'm sure there was research that went into this, but what sources have you been using to write this book as support for the story you're telling?
Uh-huh. The primary sources is my personal experience, because I was witness 3.5 years. I was witness of many massacres around me and killing my co-workers, running from the home to the workplace, and killing members of my family, very young people died. This is the source. The other sources that really helped me, it was sources from internet, from many journalists, international journalists that have been coming to Sarajevo to shooting the photos of massacres and to producing the reportage and documentary movie. They helped me, like Chicago Tribune, like New York Times, like Guardian helped me a lot. They produced many photos and many articles that they helped me. And Al Jazeera, they helped me also. They have been interviewing Arabian people, why they have to go to Bosnia. And they used to say, oh, I'm ready to die for my Muslim brothers in Bosnia, and they really died. So these sources, I created bibliography in my book about all these sources that my readers can go to this link and read more and be more educated about the situation that happened.
When they read the book, what do you hope the message is they take away? When they finish the book and they're, as you're reading it, there are a number of things that jump out at you as a reader. What is the main message you hope the people respond to after reading the book?
Oh, the message to my readers is like wake-up call to not be brainwashed society in any country. So this is the global message to all my readers.
You mentioned this before, and it's so important. Political propaganda, mass media propaganda, these are very powerful weapons, aren't they? You've seen the power, the abuse firsthand.
Yeah, I think so. The mass media propaganda and political propaganda can be very powerful in positive way and on negative way. So if they're producing peace, love, prosperity, education is powerful on positive way. But if they are producing fake news, hate, the confusing situation, they're having very dangerous and powerful weapon to destroy the situation in the country, to divide people, to produce civil war and genocide.
This is a true story of strength, perseverance, the true story told by a survivor. That's our guest on the program, Dee Plecic. That's Plecic. The book is On the Margin of the Sky, a shocking true crime story of horror in Sarajevo. Let's talk about how you survived. Just going through what your daily life was, your survival, the survival of your family, and to say every day was a fight for survival is not overstating it. How did you survive?
Oh, we had been all brainwashed in Bosnia before the war started. Our president, Alija Izetbegovic, he was spreading the mass media propaganda that it will not be the war in Bosnia. You're going to be safe. That was the lie. And we have not had any food, any water with us. We just had suddenly attack over the night on the city, and we have been in shock. So I was in shock. I know in the morning I have to go to my workplace. So I blocked my brain. I said, it's not the war outside. It's normal life. I'm going to be nice dressed, and I'm going to my office. So when I crouched outside to the street, I immediately talked to the sky. I believe in power of universe and power of God that have been always be with me. And I send request, God be with me. I have to be in my office. So I'm running between bombs, between snipers to my office with deep believing that I will be in my office. I imagine myself that I'm in the office. When I come to the office, my imagination was manifested with God's help, with power of universe. That was the biggest strength. Believe that universe is with me, thinking positive, and thinking that my son will come home in one piece. He was on the first line of the Bosnian army. And I always believe that he will come home, and he really come home 3.5 years fighting every day with enemy.
That really was your life. You go through all of that to get to work. You go through all of that, reverse it to get home. You do it successfully, and then you have to do it again the next day. It's such a remarkable story. On the Margin of the Sky, a shocking true crime story of horror in Sarajevo. A few minutes left in the program. I mentioned the book's available at Amazon, the usual places. Where's the best place to get a copy of the book?
You can go to Amazon.com, enter book, and when you got next page, you're gonna enter on the margin of the sky, and you will see my ebook or paperback book. So I have also published it on Barnes and Noble as a Nook book and paperback book. So they can look on Amazon or on Barnes and Noble.
And we will have a link on our website so you can get that information and not only get information, but order the book there as well. You've been working with Reader's Magnet on this major project to get the word out there. What has that experience been like for you working with Reader's Magnet?
Yeah, they have been calling me many times. I did not have time to respond. And now I'm going to work with them. They're going to prepare me for the International Festival of the Book on Tucson, Arizona next year in April. I think so, in April. And I will work with them more on my book to come to the readers. They will help me, I believe.
Well, it's so important for people to read this, and I've got about a minute or so left. What has this experience been like for you? The coming to the United States, you've got a teacher that says, Dee, you're a really talented author. You need to write this book. You write the book. It's impacting a number of lives and giving us an inside look at history that we vaguely may know something about. What has this been like for you?
For me, this is amazing experience and made me strong and made me more powerful. Whatever I do, I know I'm going to do it. I always imagine what I'm going to do, and my imagination was manifested with the power of the universe. This is
just like getting to work every day, isn't it? You get out there and you do what needs to be done to spread the word, and you're doing that so well in the book. On the Margin of the Sky, a shocking true crime story of horror in Sarajevo by Dee Plecic, our guest on the program. Googling it, Dee and then Plecic, Plecic, and the book is available at Amazon. Dee, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us on the program. Continued success with the book. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to talk to you, all of you.
Pleasure to have you on the program. And again, information on the book at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. The book on the Margin of the Sky. You're listening to This Week in America, and we're back after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, Associate Producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, Segment Producer. Ben Watson, Webmaster. Otto Bechet, Director of Engineering and TV Production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, Executive Producer of This Week in America.